Welcome back. In our previous videos, we talked about different types of validity. We covered content validity, construct validity, concurrent validity, and predictive validity. If you have noticed, all these four validities are mostly used in test or instrument assessment. So when we develop a social instrument or any kind of instrument to measure a construct, then we use these different type of validity to establish the effectiveness of the test. So we can use content validity, construct validity, concurrent validity, and predictive validity. Now we are going to talk about another kind of validity, which is called internal validity. Internal validity is not, this term is used more in the context of a research study rather than assessment of a test or an instrument. So you may often, if you are reading a research article and you are going through, let's say, the findings section or limitation section, a trustworthy section, there you might read about this term called internal validity. What is the internal validity of this study? So that term is used, internal validity as a term is used in the context of a study. Now, what is the meaning of internal validity? As you know, in a study, experimental study or other studies, quantitative studies, you see that you have independent variable and you have dependent variable. As a researcher, you manipulate your independent variable and see the impact of that manipulation on the dependent variable. You measure that, and then you say the changes happening in dependent variable is caused by the manipulation in independent variable. So you try to establish a cause-effect relationship. So internal validity refers to the extent a study's findings or study's results are caused by the variables which are being manipulated and not by any other variable. So you try to, so if a study says like, these are the results and the results are caused by this thing, then internal validity refers to what extent we can say with full surety that the changes, the results which is coming up is happening because of the variables of interest and not some outside variables or some extraneous variables which may influence the experiment. So that's called internal validity. So let's understand this with an example. Let's say I develop a new teaching method. Okay? As a researcher, I develop a new teaching method, and I want to see the effect of this new teaching method on student learning. Student learning. So I devise an experimental study where the new teaching method is taught by some teachers, and then we try to see how does it affect student learning. Now, when I'm devising this study and I'm saying that this new teaching method is causing the change, the positive change that we have seen in student learning. Now, a person can argue that, okay, you are saying this is happening because of this new teaching method, but maybe some other variables is involved here. Maybe the change that we are seeing in student performance, student learning, is caused by student motivation. The students' learning is improving because the students are highly motivated. It's not happening because of your new teaching method. Maybe this change in student learning is happening because of, let's say, teacher enthusiasm. The teacher who is teaching this, these students are very enthusiastic. So how you could say, so the thing is here, as a researcher, it needs to be clarified. In this experiment, let's say a teacher is teaching using this new teaching method, and then after some time, we measure student learning and we saw an improvement. Now the question is, if the improvement in student learning is caused by this new teaching method, or maybe some other variable, maybe it's happening because of student high level of motivation. Maybe the teacher who, in this case, who is using this new teaching method, his enthusiasm, his enthusiastic teaching style is bringing the change rather than this new teaching method. So the internal validity refers to the research design that helps to clearly identify if the changes in dependent variable is caused solely by the independent variable and not by any other variable. That is what internal validity. So internal validity is closely related to your research design. So when you design your study, to make sure that your study has a high level of internal validity, you want to take some steps to make sure that you can clearly establish the relationship between the two and control all these outside extraneous variables which may cause change in the dependent variable, in this case student learning. So let's take the same example. As a researcher, to enhance my internal validity, what I could do. So in this case, what I could do to control these variables, student motivation and teacher enthusiasm, I can use a design where I can control these variables so that I can clearly state that the change happening here in dependent variable is caused by manipulation in the independent variable. So clear cause-effect relationship can be established. So what I could do, so let's say I can, have a teacher, same teacher, teaching a class of students using this new method of teaching. And then I can have the same teacher teaching another class by using the regular teaching method. So same teacher is teaching one class, which similar class, like similar level of students. And in this class, he is using a new teaching method. And the same teacher is teaching another class using his regular teaching method. And then we can measure, after some time, student learning. Now, you could see the teacher is same, teaching two different approaches. He's using two different approaches of teaching, a new method of teaching and a regular, usual way of teaching. Same teacher is teaching two similar classes. And now, if we see a change in student learning here, let's say in this case, then what would we conclude? We can clearly say that teacher enthusiasm is not implicated here because the teacher is same, right? The same teacher is teaching two classes using two different methods. So the teacher enthusiasm doesn't come into picture here because the teacher is same. And in that case, you could establish a clear connection between, answer this question if the new teaching method is contributing significantly to student learning or there is no difference. Did you get my point? What I'm saying here is internal validity is directly related to the research design. So whenever you plan your experimental study, whenever you plan your research design, you need to think about how to ensure that the change which is happening in dependent variable is solely attributed to the independent variable, and other variables which may implicate the findings in dependent variable are checked out or they are cancelled out. And this is one way. There are many ways you could do that. So when you learn more about research design, you will learn more about how different research design can be used to ensure that the change happening in dependent variable is solely attributed to independent variable. So that's about internal validity. In summary, internal validity refers to the study research design and assesses if the change happening in dependent variable can be attributed to changes or manipulation in independent variable. The more we could do it with confidence, higher the internal validity. But if it is not there, then this experiment, whatever that experiment or that research is, we could say that has a low level of internal validity. I hope it clarifies what internal validity is. I'll see you again in another video talking about another topic about validity. Till then, have a good rest of the day. Thank you.